Hey guys, I appreciate you watching us at the Bass Champs tournament. I thought maybe I would share just a little bit of information with you guys, just because, you know, I'd like to help out any angler that I possibly could, that's especially a new guy out on the field. But you know what? Denali saved our lives. I am not kidding you. It is some of the best rods that I have ever used out on the water. Now, we used a Denali cranking rod. This would be the 7'11" medium heavy lithium series cranking rod. This is absolutely the best rod that I've ever used for cranking. And you know what? I've even gotten my partner to use the same rods. Now we keep Denali on the boat. There's nothing else on that I use in my arsenal. But you know, part of using a crankbait and a crankbait rod, you know, well gosh, you know, we fish with crankbaits all the time and we never catch anything. So I'm going to share a little secret with you on things that I like to do in order to improve everything that I do on the water. You know, even during pre-fishing, we did the same thing. We figured it out. We figured out a retrieve, and that's what I'd like to talk about is the retrieve. So I'm going to make a long cast out there as far as that crankbait will go, and let's just say I'm using a deep diver. Well, I'm going to crank on that rod just about like this, get it down to the bottom as fast as I can, and then sometimes when I hit the bottom, I keep the rod tip down towards the tip of the water. I mean, you just almost want to touch the water. That way that your crankbait doesn't hang up on stumps and rocks, and you kind of feel it. You feel your bait bump those rocks with these lithium rods. That's what's phenomenal about this. So a lot of times we'll start reeling down, and then I'll slow down, and I'll feel everything that crankbait's hitting. And I might throw that retrieve, you know, 10, 12 times. If I'm not getting bit and I know there's fish there, I'm going to cast back out there and do the same thing, but I'm going to speed up that retrieve, keeping my rod tip down towards the water so that I don't hang up. And if I do feel my crankbait stick on something, I'm going to stop, give it a little bit of slack, and let the crankbait come back up off that whatever it's hung up on. And sometimes I will even burn that crankbait just as fast as I can, getting it down there. A lot of times in a cold weather situation, just like what we had on Lake Falcon this last weekend, water temperatures were in the 50s, and the fish, I think, were a little bit sluggish, so you had to give them a presentation that would cause a reaction bite. So in order to do that reaction bite, I'm cranking it down there just as fast as I can, and I never stop cranking fast. I'm just bumping stuff just as fast as that crankbait it'll hit. And what it does is it causes that fish to eat, whether he's hungry or not, he's like, this is my only chance. Here comes that bait just rattling across there, and he, out of reaction, he will hit that crankbait. And sometimes it's the slow presentation. You just got to figure out that presentation. But I will say the absolute best rod out there for a crankbait is this Denali lithium series. I prefer the 7'11" on my deep diving crankbaits, but I also throw more of a smaller for my baits that don't dive as deep, maybe 7 to 10 feet. Then I'll throw the Denali medium heavy. Now this is just a 7-foot rod. So, you know, you don't have to have that 7'11", but I like it on a deep diving crankbait. But on a shallower crankbait, I like to throw that 7-foot. You could even go a little bit less than that. You know, whatever feels comfortable to you, because you can do the same things with that 7-foot as you can that 7'11". I guarantee you, because I've done it with these lithium rods. So that's the product and tip of the week, guys. I appreciate you watching.